Hey there, welcome back to Lead Coding. Today we are going to discuss the interview experience and internship experience of Microsoft, and for that we have with us Amit Yadav. He's a student of Delhi Technological University and he's in his final year of software engineering. So Amit recently got a pre-placement offer from Microsoft. So he was selected as an intern and then he got a conversion offer from Microsoft. So we can start with the procedure, Amit.
First of all, hey everyone, this is Amit. So talking about the selection procedure, as Faraz told, Microsoft visited our campus last year for hiring interns and we all applied. So firstly, talking about the initial phase, so they had this CGPA cutoff criteria where the students having CGPA greater than a particular threshold, I think that cutoff CGPA was around 7 or 7.5. So all the students who had CGPA greater than that was able to apply for the company. And after that, all the students who applied were supposed to give an online coding test. So there were 3 questions in that test, and the students were supposed to provide the solutions for those questions that were provided in the test.
Yes, so can you tell us about the coding platform which was used and the difficulty level of the questions?
Yeah, sure. As we all know, Microsoft loves Mattel, right? So
Exactly.
the coding platform for us was Mattel also. And talking about the questions, there were 3 questions. And if we talk about the difficulty level, so first of all, just to pinpoint this very thing, we had this conceptions like Microsoft generally asks questions on linked list and the basic binary trees, but at our time, this was not the case, right? So during our time, the questions I'd say were decent. I'd say the questions were not that tough, but there was one tricky thing in the questions. The language in which they were framed, that was like the important part. That was the tricky part. So once you've cracked what to do in that question, then the question was pretty much easy. But figuring out what is needed to be done in that very question, that was the tricky part. All in all, I'd say the test was of a difficulty of medium. It was not hard and not very easy. So the test had this medium difficulty level. And there were 3 questions, and all those who were able to solve all the 3 were shortlisted for the next round. That was the group fly round.
Yes.
So I remember nearly about 100 to 120 students were shortlisted for the group fly round. And group fly round is generally also known as the pen paper round, where we are provided with generally with some questions, and we are supposed to code out the solution on a piece of paper with pen. So in the pen paper round also, there were 3 questions, and we were supposed to write a approach as well as the code in any of the languages. I think the language part was free. You could code in any of the languages that you know, and you have to mention at every point what you're doing, simply just commenting out the solutions for better readability. So the group fly round was about that.
And what were the questions which were asked in this round?
Okay, so I think the questions, the first question I vaguely remember was on BFS, I think. There was a pattern, so we were supposed to tell the nth term in that pattern. So that was solved using BFS. So the first was on BFS breadth first search. And the second question, I think the question had a big language, but I'll just summarize it for you. I think in that question, the solution of that question was around DQ. We had to find, I think, maximum in a window, or something. I think the maximum in a window of size of a particular size. So I think that was around DQ. And the third question, which was the interesting one, and the third question was I think we had to implement a mechanism through which we can actually add and took input of sparse matrix in a very efficient way. So we had to design you can say a data structure in that very question.
Yeah.
So one thing I like to pinpoint here is that from the coding round till this group fly round, what I've seen is that all the questions had one particular data structure that the answer was requiring. I remember in the coding questions as well, there were solutions using queues and all these things. And in here also in the group fly round, we were supposed to use BFS using queues, and we were supposed to use DQ. So in short, if I say, the questions were pretty much decent, but the tricky part was the language, how they were framed. in group fly round also, the questions had a pretty big language, and like we were supposed to like figure out like what is needed to be done.
Okay, so they didn't exactly say that you have to find the maximum in a window. They actually framed it into a language.
Right. There was a whole scenario given. So out of that, you have to like get the context of the question, like what is needed to be done. Like the question was not simply like just find the maximum in a window of
Yeah.
size k. It was not like that.
So on the platforms like Lead Code, we directly have that question
Yeah.
statement, a very
Right.
brief
Right.
one, yeah.
Right.
And once you write the solution in any language on paper, you had to mention the space and the time complexity as well.
Yeah, right. I forgot that part. Like we are supposed to mention the space and time complexity. So we were supposed to write the code in a very decent manner, in a neat and clean manner, such that whosoever sees that solution is like quickly able to understand like what's done in that particular code. And like my general advice to you all would be, so try keeping the solution clean and concise, and whenever required, just comment that part why you're doing this, why you're doing that. So it's better. It enhances the readability, right? And whosoever sees it quickly grasps like what your solution is all about.
Yeah, that's a very important thing to be
Yeah.
noted in the whiteboard round. So
Yeah.
you also have to look for the variable name conventions as well. Yeah.
Right. Do not just go about taking variables as int a, int b. That is definitely not encouraged. Try taking some meaningful variable names.
All right. So can you tell us about the further rounds once you
Yeah.
qualified this?
So after this group fly round, I remember around 30 students were shortlisted for the next rounds. So after that, generally Microsoft conducts 3 more rounds, out of which the first two rounds are technical, and the last one is the combination of both technical and HR, where you have technical questions as well as like behavioral questions that we say. So there were 3 rounds. First round was based on pure DSLGO, where they asked a question and we were supposed to propose a solution for that. So first 2 rounds were like that only, like it was pure DSLGO round where a question was put in to us, and we were supposed to like provide a solution for that, and like we were supposed to analyze the space and time complexity for that. And I'd say to you all that the questions that they are asking are not like very direct. Like they will not ask just to like print the vertical order traversal of the tree. So now what's happening, actually what I've observed is that the question that they're asking is generally those questions that students tend to leave. Like we think that this question definitely won't be asked. So in my case, if I tell you what question they asked me, you all will be surprised. Like they asked
I remember
me,
that.
like the question was, I was given an integer, and I was supposed to convert that integer into English words. Suppose the integer was 1000. So the integer value 1000 will be given to me, and I was supposed to return a string saying 1000. So all these type of questions we generally tend to leave. Like
Yes.
we think that these questions won't be asked in an interview. But my advice would be like just have a glimpse, like how can you solve so just look into such questions, because you never know what can be asked to you. So this was about the first and second rounds. There was questions like this only. And talking about the third round, so in third round also they were discussing something about the projects, and they put up some questions on DSLGO. And in that round, I'd say the questions were like the basic ones, and they had a discussion on my project, on what all projects I've done before. And in that round only, they told me that I'm selected. So this was all for me. Like the first coding test I gave. After that, the group fly round. And after the group fly round, there were 3 interview rounds: round 1, round 2, and round 3. Round 1 and round 2 were majorly technical round, where we was supposed to solve some questions, and the round 3 was a mix of technical and behavioral questions. So yeah, that was it.
Okay, yeah. So one more question which I remember was about implementing the stoi function, from converting a string into an integer. So basically we are given a string and we have to convert that string into its integer form. So we have to do a lot of cleaning in that.
Right. They are like, this specialty about these questions is like there are lots of edge cases, and
Exactly.
your solution won't be considered complete unless you're covering those test cases,
Yeah.
because those test cases are the real heart of the problem. So it's better if you like just see those questions previously, like seeing that type of question directly in an interview like could be a pressurous situation for any one of us. So it's better to do those type of questions as well.
Okay, so as far as I remember, all these rounds they took place in a single day, right?
Since it was an on-campus opportunity, yeah, so all the rounds were conducted in a single day. So like the process started, if I tell you, if the process started like around 7 a.m. in the morning, and by 3 or by 4, like we were done with all the rounds and the results were announced as well.
All right.
Yeah.
So now we can discuss about the internship experience that you had in Microsoft.
Okay. Yeah. So firstly, just summarizing the complete internship experience. So there will be one word. It is wonderful. The internship experience was really wonderful. Like before that, I was a bit hesitant. I was a bit nervous, like how the internship experience will go, like what all things I would be required to work on. But like once you get into something, you eventually get out of it successfully. Like this is what I've learned. So talking about the internship experience more, so I was in Azure networking team, and I was given a project. Initially, the project seemed to be like a really massive thing to me, but as we went ahead with time, like the things went pretty chilled out and the things were sorted. And I'll say like initial days of any internship or any, like whenever you start working, the initial days could be a bit stressful because those are the days where you are actually getting familiar with all the things. And I think that is the most crucial part, where a lot of like pressure you see. So initial days were a bit of stress, but after that everything went really smooth, like about the project as well, because initially you are learning the technologies on which you were supposed to work. So those days are bit of stress. After that, once you start going on, the things are pretty much chilled out.
Okay, so for those who are going for the internship, it is very important that they secure conversion from the company, especially in a company like Microsoft. So could you please tell us that what should one do to get that?
Okay, first of all, many of like my junior also asked me like what can we do before going to an internship such that we can be at a safer side.
Yeah.
So first of all, for that I'll just say that today the companies are working on a technology that you might not have heard before. Like the project that I was working on was using certain technologies that I hadn't heard in my dreams. So in an internship, it is very possible that you would be working on a technology that you haven't used before. So do not go with an expectation that you will get something you're familiar with. Be free-minded that whatever comes to your way, you should be ready to learn it. And today, like I had a lot of friends and I've talked to them also. They are in different companies, and they were also working on certain things that they hadn't heard before. So in the end, just to summarize what all I've said, first basic thing is that do not have a preconception in your mind that you will be getting to work on certain things. Just be flexible that whatever comes to your way, you should be enthusiastic enough to learn that and ultimately work on that. So first of all, do not have any preconception about anything. And second important thing is that there's no substitute to hard work. So just be honest to your work perfectly, and put in all your efforts, what you've got, put in all these things, and ultimately all the things shall be falling in your place. So these are the basic things that we should be implying when we go to an internship or whenever we do any work. So these are the basics strategies that I'd suggest to anyone who's going to any internship. Yeah. And in the end, for like conversions, as we all know that pre-placement offers are offered after the end of the internship. So in my case, what was done, all the interns were gone through interviews. So in those interviews, some of the interns were asked about DS algos as well, and some of the interns were asked about the projects that they did in the internship. So advisable thing is that you should continue practicing questions while your intern is going on, because you never know in the end what's coming to you. So better just be in touch with all the things, and most importantly, your work defines you. So try to do everything perfectly, and in the end, if you've done well, if you've performed well in the interviews, then nothing can stop you from getting a pre-placement offer. Yes. So these are all my words for it.
Yeah, so it is very important that during your internship also you practice few questions daily, because in case you don't manage to get a conversion offer, you will be sitting for the placements. So it is
Right.
always beneficial that you practice few questions daily. Now, Amit, we would like to know about how did you prepare for such companies and how did you manage between academics and your preparation for coding interviews?
Yeah, right. So for us, as we know that preparation for these companies do not just happen in 1 or 2 months. It's
Yes.
a long process. Like you need to work on it a year before than your actual placements or your internship session. So what I did was that just after my first year, I'd done this basic course on data structures and algorithms. So through that, I got a basic understandings of all the data structures and all the basic, you can say, the simple algorithms that we had. After that, what I had done, my main focus was on practicing as much questions as I can. So after that, for 4 or 5 months, I randomly picked questions and tried to solve them. After that, like I went into competitive programming. Like there, I got a bigger picture, like how the things really are. So I was into competitive programming. Like I was solving questions on platforms like CodeChef, Codeforces. So it's like advisable when you want to solve a variety of questions. You can go to such platforms, and through giving these contests, you really get an idea like how the questions are framed and how the questions can come to you. So I was into competitive programming for a while. Currently, I am doing competitive programming. Like I readily take part in these competitive coding contests. So it's advisable that you solve questions on such platform. The basic thing is that you should be solving questions, and for that there are multiple platforms, so you can opt for any one of them. So you should be good in data structures and algorithms. So for that, what you can do, as I've just said, have a basic understanding, then start practicing questions. Apart from that, we have CS fundamentals as well that are asked in interviews. Like there are questions on operating system, there are questions on OOPS. So for that, what can be done? Like if you are from a tech branch, like if you are from a CSIT branch, then these things won't be of a problem to you, because in your curriculum as well, you will be studying all these things. So just to think that whenever you are going through any of the subjects that are going to be asked in the interviews or in the internship interviews, just understand those concepts of those subjects really well, because in the end you cannot just completely complete a subject fully. So it's better you've done it before. In the end, you'd be just required to revise all those things. So like the subjects like OS, OOPS, DBMS, computer networks, so all these things would be taken care by the academics that we have in our colleges.
Yes.
So all these things would be covered. Apart from this, the thing that remains is the project. So about the project, I'd simply say that whatever interests you, work on that field. Like if you are into machine learning, go and explore what all things are there in machine learning and build a project. On if you are in web development, like if you want to develop things, if you want to develop apps, then go in that field. Like the project part is not fixed. Like in whichever field you want to work, whichever field interests you, you should be working on that. And it's advisable and it's good that if you have a 1-2 projects in your resume that really makes an impact to the interviewer, because just doing DSLGO isn't really enough. Like you should have a idea like how the things actually work, how the things actually are implemented. So just have some projects in your resume that will give you an edge over others, and try do not go to quantity. Do not be just like I should be working on multiple projects, I should be working on 4 or 5 projects. Work on a project that is worth explaining. Work on a project that you really interested in. So because in that case, whenever a question is put up to you about that thing, you'd be able to answer this better.
Yes.
So do not go for quantity, focus on quality. So yeah, that would be my advice for it. Yeah.
All right. So I think we have covered everything, starting from the procedure to apply for the company till the preparation. And we also covered the part in which we talk about the conversion process as well.
Right.
So it was very good talking to you, Amit.
Same here for us, same here.
Thanks a lot for your time.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Okay, for us. Have a great day.
Have a good day.